How's it going? PM Designs here. So, you just got your new RX100 Mark VI, or you're watching this and you have the Mark V or 4 or one of the, sorry, I'm turning the air conditioner down a little bit. And, or, one of the earlier ones, I think the earlier, maybe like the 1 and the 2 didn't have the multi-interface USB port. So one of the accessories may not work on that, but I wanted to cover my top 5 accessories to get for the RX100 series of cameras. Number 1, get yourself a good case. I've used the 8-case AC165. I currently am using for my Mark VI. I picked up the Think Tank Mirrorless Mover 5. It's the small one. Fits the camera, fits a couple of accessories that I'm going to talk about. But it's nice and compact, so you have a small camera, so you don't need a huge case for it, but it fits the camera, plus necessary accessories. You can go with a bigger case, you can go with a smaller case. Those are my 2 recommendations. I've used them, I like them. After that, get a USB battery charger. I use the Wasabi charger. You can find it on Amazon. It's their dual one where the battery goes in flat, one on each side. Basically has a simple charging or fully charged indicator. Nothing really fancy about it. Charges through micro USB, so you can charge. And if you get it as a bundle, you can get a couple of batteries with it. They have other brands. Look on Amazon, see what your preferred third-party battery is, or you can just get the charger and get Sony batteries. Sony does make a travel charger that's a little smaller, but it only charges 1 battery at a time. My rule of thumb is I always bring 3 batteries, so I like to be able to charge 2, and if I need to, I can charge the 3rd in the camera itself. Third, I recommend getting some kind of grip. You can either get the Sony one that sticks on there. You can get a few that attach to thread into the tripod screw and give you a plate across the bottom. And then the grip, it's to where it's not something that's just adhered on there. If you don't like sticking stuff on your cameras. They have another one that has Arca Swiss quick release built into it. That's the one I'm using on the Mark VI, and the one I have allows you to get into to the memory card and the battery slot. Some of them you have to remove to get into that, so do keep that in mind. The 4th thing I recommend is a little miniature tripod or a pocket tripod, something along those lines. Manfrotto Pixie's a good one, the little Manfrotto little pocket tripods that you can just put on the bottom of your camera. It folds up flat on the bottom. Those 2, I have both. I like them both. You can pre-order, or if you're watching this and it's already out, or you can even get the one that's made for cameras that Sony makes. That's a little handheld, little grip, miniature tripod that has the controls for zoom and starting to stop and recording, taking a photo. So you can kind of have that one way, so you can use it when you're filming, looking away from you, or you can loosen it, swing the camera around, and use it to hold the camera and give you better access to the controls when you're filming toward you. On that same line, number 5 is going to be some form of shutter release. If you don't want to carry extra batteries with you, get one that's wired. Sony makes one. Third-party companies make them. Depending on what if you don't like to run third-party stuff, go with the Sony. If you don't mind third-party, go with the third-party stuff. Whatever. I personally keep the little small Sony one that Sony makes. I keep that in my little camera bag, and then with my little, I have kind of a full size but a travel tripod. It's like 48 inches or 53 inches, something like that. And with that in the bag with that tripod, I keep a wireless shutter release. So whenever I go somewhere, if I don't want to bring everything, I have my little camera. I have the camera with me. I have the little wired shutter release because it fits in the camera bag with the camera, and the battery charger, and the wall adapter, and all that. So those are my 5 recommendations, with some of them having a little bit extra, but those are my top 5. You just bought your RX100 accessories to get. Now I just want to talk a little bit about the RX100 Mark VI. Went ahead and traded in my Mark V. Pre-ordered the Mark VI, got it on the 10th on release day, and I've been using it for what? Today is, I think, the 13th. Yeah, Friday the 13th. Yeah. Been using it the past 2 or 3 days. I really like it. The image quality is amazing. Definitely. I'm glad I upgraded to it. It was a tough decision because I got rid of my RX100 Mark V, which really getting rid of that because I was going to 6 wasn't a big deal, but getting rid of my A6000 with the 10 to 18, the 18 to 200 that, it's seen me through numerous trips, numerous photo stuff, gigs and stuff. I've gotten so much use out of it, so it was kind of a hard thing to let go of because it's works so well for me, but ultimately I didn't see a reason in keeping that camera and getting the new camera and stuff, and I guess I can kind of go into a little bit of what to do, with your old camera gear if you're looking to upgrade. I mean, if you can financially, if you can afford to get the new one and not get rid of your old gear, so be it. But for the majority of us, it's a tough thing to be able to get the new camera that comes out and hang on to the old gear, especially when it's just, may just start collecting dust. But if it's one of those things like you have your A6000, your A6300, A6500, and you're looking at going and you're saying, hey, you know what, I have the 18 to 200 with that, or I have, the 16 to 55 or 16 to 50 and the 55 to 210, and you're like, I really think I could go to this RX100 Mark VI, because it covers the same focal range. I don't know, and you can afford to get the Mark VI and have both and see how they work out for you, and then, you may use one in one instance, one in other scenarios, then go for it. But I went ahead and just went all in and said, you know what, I'm going to get the new camera, I'm going to go ahead and, sell the old equipment. I personally went through KEH.com and sold my gear. Me personally, I didn't want to have the risk involved with, selling person to person without, having like it's one of those things like, yeah, if you sell it on, Craigslist or eBay or one of those type of, or I think even Amazon, you can sell, you can sell directly to somebody, kind of through them. But me personally, I didn't want the risk in that, say the buyer, with doing the transaction like that, especially with the money involved, is, if you get a buyer that's really dishonest and has buyer's remorse, and then they say, you know what, the guy said no returns, well, if the thing doesn't work, and then they do something to jack with the autofocus system and damage something, and then say it was like that when they got it, I don't want that liability. So that's why I went through KH. But you have to pick your risks, your level of acceptable risk when selling something, and then depending on where you're at and what applicable laws and stuff and seller protection, buyer protection kind of things are in place, that may influence your decision as well. And if you have previous good experience, that'll always influence your decision too. So sorry about the jingling, my keys are kind of rattling back and forth annoyingly. So that's my 2 cents on the camera. Me, you know, from what my few days of experience with taking pictures with the camera and stuff, I'm 100% happy I went with the decision. You know, the image quality is excellent. You know, I even, you know, at the widest, you know, you can crop in on that picture. I mean, you can see, you know, individual facial hairs and stuff like that. You know, then the pores on your face. You know, obviously just holding the camera, just taking like a selfie kind of thing. And then even all the way at 200 millimeters, I was just taking some pictures of stuff in the office, and you know, you can crop right in on the back of the camera, and you know, the detail that's in the image is incredible. So, you know, definitely you have the range to, you know, if you can't get something framed just right, you know, that'll, you know, you'll have some leeway to crop and recompose and everything. So, beyond that, the only other one thing I have yet to test out on it is how well I'll be able to track well, I'm sure the autofocus system, because I think autofocus is incredibly fast. So I really don't see that the autofocus system is going to be my limiting factor on my next little thing I've yet to see, but I'm looking. I really don't have the opportunity to photograph a fast-moving subject, you know, like someone skiing, and that was one of the things that I typically do with my cameras. So that's one thing that I'm gonna have to see if I can, if the electronic zoom on it will, you know, work well for me in photographing a moving subject, you know, such as a skier. So we'll see. But so far, you know, I'm really happy with the camera. Really excited, you know, to have it, and you know, I'm really excited to take it with me on future trips, and just having it with me as a everyday camera, you know, so to say. You know, other than my cell phone, which sometimes I'll just have my cell phone with me, but I like to have, you know, especially since when I got the Mark V, you know, I always had that, you know, in my bag with me if I needed it. And now that I have the Mark VI, you know, I'm just that much more excited to see what kind of things I can do with it. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you've taken away something good from this video, and got any comments, questions, whatever, you know where to